All of these events have one thing in common: the IED. Improvised explosive devices are defined by the Department of Defense as devices placed and/or fabricated in an improvised manner, incorporating destructive, lethal, noxious, pyrotechnic, or incendiary chemicals, and designed to destroy, incapacitate, harass, or distract. An IED may incorporate military stores, but is often devised from non-military components. Whether used by a terrorist or in a criminal act, an IED always has an intended purpose: to kill or maim, destroy property, or simply harass through hate, malice, greed, revenge, or mischief. Improvised explosive devices are characterized by their purpose and are divided into two functioning designs: anti-property and anti-personnel. Anti-property IEDs are designed to destroy buildings or property, to cause enough damage to ensure the building or property is unable to be used for purpose. They are to frighten or harass individuals or companies. Criminal elements may use these devices for threat or insurance fraud. Anti-personnel IEDs are used to kill, disfigure, or harass. The pressure from the blast damages organs, particularly at air faces, and the wind propels fragments and people, causing penetrating or blunt injuries. The ears, lungs, and gastrointestinal tract are the typical organs affected by a blast. Other sensitive organs, such as the brain, can also be affected. IEDs may be simple. Sometimes their simplicity makes them hard to detect or prevent. Someone with a basic understanding of explosives may be capable of building one of these devices with items purchased from public stores. An IED is a homemade device that is designed to cause death, injury, or destruction to property. An IED is as good as the builder's imagination. The components of an IED include the main charge, or quite simply, the explosives. Ingredients used could be as common as fuel to more powerful military explosives such as C4 or Semtex. The initiator, also called detonators or caps. The term detonator refers to an easily ignited low explosive that produces a shock wave. A power source, often a simple battery, is used. A switch, in other words, the on and off button. The container. The container can be as simple as a child's toy. A backpack. A vehicle. A package-type device is a traditional IED that is carried by a bomber to a target and detonated. With this type of device, the bomber carries the IED in a container that is appropriate for the environment, so it usually doesn't arouse suspicion. The device may be concealed in an ordinary shopping bag, knapsack, musical case, or any similar container that may be easily carried into a crowded area. These devices may contain several pounds of explosives, in addition to shrapnel and other hazardous items that pose a risk to individuals and responders. In-place devices are simply devices that have been pre-positioned sometime earlier, are delivered to a specific place and left prior to the device functioning. In-place devices can be time command or victim operated. Radio-controlled or RC command firing of devices with high-frequency systems, cell phones, or pagers give the more control over when precise occur. It enables a terrorist to be a distance away from the device before it is armed or fired, and with the addition of larger capacity power sources, allows the device to be left in place many days prior to use. Secondary devices are IEDs placed at the scene of an emergency response that are intended to cause casualties among responders. They are designed to inflict additional injury or death by exploding after an initial explosion or other major emergency response event that has attracted large numbers of responders to the scene. Secondary devices are hidden or camouflaged by placing them in ordinary objects, such as vehicles, briefcases, pots, or garbage cans. Use of communication devices such as wireless phones, walkie-talkies, and anything with a radio frequency could inadvertently trigger one of these hidden bombs. A suicide bomber attack is a method of attack in which the death of the attacker is an essential component of the success of the mission. The primary goal of a suicide bomber is not suicide, it is homicide. The attacker's death is merely a consequence of the homicide. The death of the attacker may be probable, but it is not certain. Frequently, it's about a suicide bomber killing American soldiers or Middle East, Asia, or other areas of conflict. As a first responder, you must constantly be aware of the possibility of a terrorist attack in the form of a suicide-homicide bomber. Targets may include government buildings, mass gatherings, or places with a strong symbolic significance that draws maximum attention to the terrorist group. There are 4 suicide-homicide bombers deliver IEDs: vehicle-borne, airborne, waterborne, person-borne. All of these methods are designed so the attacker will also perish. A suicide-homicide attack is very difficult to stop. Traditional Western law enforcement techniques, close, contain, negotiate, will not work in this situation. It is important for every first responder to realize that even if detected before detonation, the attacker is usually willing to settle for as many or as few casualties as possible. Historically, the suicide bombers have been male. There are more women, teens, and even children who are carrying out suicide bombing missions. A number of proactive countermeasures suggested, such as vigilance and alertness can prevent or mitigate an attack. Also, observation of suspicious people and vehicles. Targeted questioning methods help find indicators. Careful searches if reasonable suspicion may merit a search. Be very cautious not to detonate a device. At checkpoints, heavy staffing is recommended with no less than 3 people. And comprehensive employee awareness. Vigilance is enhanced if all citizens are involved.
Lift your shirt. Your hand up.
Vehicle-borne IEDs are the most destructive weapons used worldwide by terrorist groups. VBIEDs are a means of attack because they are easily obtained, they blend in, and out of place. Also, they provide easy methods of transporting the device to the target, have many hiding places, enable large quantities of explosives to be used, provide enhanced effects due to the vehicle structure and fuel, can cause a spectacular attack causing much death and destruction leading to extensive media coverage, easily hide fusing and initiation systems, can make penetrating a security perimeter unnecessary, can breach security measures around a target if the vehicle is driven fast enough, and can reach targets easily as most potential targets are accessible by road or have vehicle parking in or alongside the target. VBIEDs present a serious threat to the United States, especially in heavily populated metropolitan areas, and should be a major concern for law enforcement and emergency management agencies. With the current threat and risk analysis pointing to the use of explosives as one of the main terrorist weapons, it is a priority that responders know the characteristics and possible indicators of